Today we're here with Jay Feitlinger, CEO and founder of StringCan Interactive, a strategic B2B digital marketing and technology agency in Scottsdale, Arizona. Throughout his career, Jay has helped brands like Barney's New York, Coca-Cola, Under Armour, and more. In this episode, he shares his expertise and answers common SEO questions that his clients often ask him about.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Arce. Welcome back to another episode of the GSD Show. And today, I'm here with Mr. Jay Feitlinger.
How's it going, guys?
They're going great. It's going real great for them because they basically get to listen to you for an hour.
That's all we have, an hour?
Might be a half hour.
Because
we move quick. It's going to be between a half hour to an hour. We don't know, but you'll know beforehand because you can see the time ticker. But we're just going to keep going until we feel like the value runs out. But we're going to be talking a lot about SEO. We're going to be talking a lot about content. And these are two things that I think everybody needs to pay a little bit more attention to because the game's changed a lot in two ways. One, where some stuff that used to be important doesn't really matter anymore. And then also stuff that you never even thought about doing, you need to start doing more and more of as there's huge opportunity in it. So Jay is the CEO and founder of a company called StringCan Interactive, and you've had the chance to work with huge companies like the World Trade Center and a bunch of companies. You actually have an office in like Paris or France or something?
Not a bad place to have an office.
Not a bad place to have an office. So really quick, just so people know who they're about to listen to for the next, who knows how long, half hour or so. Tell me about StringCan, what you do, how long you've been doing it, and some of the people you work for.
Sure. So it's been about 7 years now since we had the company launch in 2010. We specialize in online strategy. So clients will hire us when they're looking for ways to really grow their online marketing. In the last year and a half, we actually positioned ourselves to actually kind of follow your guys' strategy of getting really niche. So multi-location, family-oriented companies is our main focus. So we have clients like the Little Gym with locations all over the world. We have clients like Game Truck, which is a mobile video gaming company. So we do a lot of work with companies like that where basically we sit down with them, figure out who their ideal buyers are, find them online, needle and haystack type of stuff, and then do all the online marketing execution around that.
Now, just so you guys know, although he's working with some smaller companies right now, he's doing it because he understood the value of finding a niche. And we talk a lot about that on the show, really zoning in on a particular person that could use your help and that you can help tremendously, and then just completely developing mastery and working with more and more and more of them. You'll help less types of people, but you help more people. You'll help more people more. And so Jay, although he's working with Game Truck, which some of you guys listening are going to go, okay, I know there's tons of them, which is great, but they're not really huge companies. Just like with me and what I work with in the fitness space and yoga and Pilates and all that, same kind of deal. But Jay has worked with, some of the contracts. What's like the biggest contract you've had?
Revenue-wise, or?
Yeah, like the biggest contract somebody's paid you in a year or a month or however that works.
Probably about $800,000.
$800,000 in a year to work with you.
They did.
So he knows how to help some amazing big time stuff. So what he's done is he's taken all that stuff he's learned that helps huge organizations like that, and he's now finding a way to streamline it all and help a ton of people in a smaller market, which I think is brilliant, and it's great, and it's going to be incredible. Well, it's already being incredible for you. So you guys are going to learn stuff not from this regular small, just came out of the box guy. This guy has been trusted with $800,000 to execute in a year the strategies that you're going to be learning in this episode today. Cool?
Love it. Let's do it.
All right. So I have a bunch of questions I want to ask you. Is that okay?
I'm ready.
Let's go. So number one, so we're going to start off with some SEO questions because I think a lot of people have stopped paying attention to SEO, and people have started paying attention more to Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, which makes sense. But there's still a lot of opportunity in SEO if done right, and you should be doing it just for the sake of people knowing where you are when they search your name in general, right? So I have a couple questions here. And they all revolve around myths. And I want you to kind of either confirm or break these myths for me, okay? So first one we have is Google changes their algorithm one time per year. Now, before we get into that, explain to me what the algorithm means. Like, what do you mean by Google algorithm?
Yep.
And then do they change it once a year?
Yeah, so I think with that, the challenge that a lot of our clients call us, regardless of their size, I mean, again, we get calls from companies that are doing, $5 million a year and some doing $100 million a year. The whole SEO thing is very, very confusing. So what happens is, a company can do a lot of work around online marketing, and then all of a sudden this smaller or bigger company is beating them out in rankings, and they can't really figure out what to do about that. They make one change, next thing you know, there's a change happening with Google, and all of a sudden the ranking they had yesterday in top 1, 2, or 3 now is on page 2. The main reason why that's happening is Google is always looking for ways to provide the best experience for their visitors. And so it's all about how can they understand the context of someone searching to figure out what is the right result. So for example, my wife might search on the word apple, and she's maybe looking for like apple pie recipes. I search on the word apple, and Google has to figure out am I looking for apple pie recipes or Apple computers.
Okay.
And it's all based upon the behavior of that. So each person searches, Google gets a little creepy, but Google is watching all those various different areas to figure out contextually or semantics-wise, what is it you're trying to discover to give you the right result for your unique needs. And again, the challenge back to your question there is people make these assumptions that Google is once a year going into their systems and making some tweaks regarding is keywords more important, is content more important, is links pointing to your site more important. There's probably 200 plus different elements of that algorithm. So Google can decide on a personal level what result to give you. But to actually answer that question it's a myth, because Google last year had about 550 changes to their algorithm.
550?
Yeah, they do about...
Well, really quick, break down algorithm. So
sure.
What do you mean by Google's algorithm?
So again, if you're on your computer and you're pulling up Google Chrome and you're typing in a keyword phrase, Google has to, within a millisecond, decide for your results what to show you.
So they have a formula that
do.
Basically says, based on this, in a millisecond, these are the results for that search term.
So typically when it comes down to the algorithm, it's to make it super simple. Part one is you personally. Your browsing history, your unique needs, your affinity to certain brands, they're watching all those things. So for example, if you're online searching for, let's say, a car, and you're looking more at higher end luxury cars, in theory, Google's going to try to display to you in the future higher end cars versus lower end cars.
Okay.
So they're just trying to kind of be a mind reader to give you what results make the most sense for you. So that's part of it, is your individual browsing behavior. The second part is based upon Google's decision on which web page online they feel would give you the best results.
Okay.
So again, it could be tied into what you do with your site and what you do off your site.
So on-site and off-site
Correct.
optimization.
Yep.
And so really quick before we get into that, give me an example of one or two things that would be considered on-site optimization and one or two things that would be an example of off-site optimization.
Great. So actually this happened recently, a good one. About a week and a half ago, Google came out with an announcement that any website that has a form on it, not just for transactions, that form needs to be secure, SSL. Which basically, if you go to a website and you see the HTTPS, the S stands for secure, essentially. So if you go to a website in early October and your site doesn't have an SSL installed on it site-wide, then now your site is not secure. Google actually is going to display an error message or a warning message for every visitor saying this site you're visiting is not secure.
This is going to happen starting in October?
In October.
So if you don't have that, there's going to be display, like a pop-up?
You're going to basically see like a warning message. It's probably going to show up in the results. So you might type in like, best fitness marketing company, and you see Loud Rumors result there.
Right.
Right next to your company name might say, hey, this site is not secure.
That's a total turnoff to click on.
Huge. So,
all right, so how do you, now I want to know how to fix that. Okay, so where do I go to make sure it's secure?
Very simple. So the first thing to do is go to your website hosting company
Okay, so like GoDaddy or whatever.
Yeah, so
you
let's say
use.
you're hosting with GoDaddy, just contact them and saying, hey, do we have an SSL installed? You obviously can go to your website and type in your domain, and if you
Okay.
see the S on the HTTP part, you're good.
Okay.
If you don't see that, that means you need to install an SSL.
Okay.
I would say 90%, if not more, of most hosting companies will install it for free.
Oh, okay. So it's not like
It's not overly complicated. Now, depending upon your host, that's the 10%. So I would call up your host and say, I want this installed. Some actually hosting companies offer that for free, depending upon the level of package you have. But most, it's like $50 to $60 a year. It's not very expensive.
Okay.
But my advice would be is during the next few weeks, during September, based on when they see this show, obviously that'll
They'll
be
see
different.
it probably the third week of September, right around
Okay,
there.
so good timing. So you have about a week left. So you want to install that because it might take some time to work out some kinks with all what they call redirects. Because right now in Google's database, if you don't have SSL installed, they're indexing your non-secure version. So you want them to re-index your secure version.
Okay.
So back to your question, guys, that's the on-site part. It's like, that would be a great example of Google's looking at hundreds of different elements of your site. Things like how fast your site loads, the content on your site. Do you optimize the images? Not just the alt tags, the references to the image, but actually also the file size. They want to see sites that load quickly to give, again, the user the best experience.
All right.
They're watching all of those behaviors. That's the on-site side. And then the off-site side is as equally important. So there, again, tied back one of the myths that we might talk about in a few minutes here. The old school model was get as many links as you can pointing to your site, and then you win the game of SEO. That is over. It has to be quality, not quantity.
Okay.
So you'd want to find... So
And
let's
it
say-
used to be quantity.
It totally was quantity. A few years ago, it was you could buy links.
Right.
You'd hire these people offshore, and then pay them $1 a link, and they go out there and they find these link farms and get you a link, and then all of a sudden you're boosting in rankings. Google caught wind of that, and now they actually blacklist those sites.
Link farms.
Yeah.
So you don't want farm links. You want wild caught.
You don't want to ever buy a link. I love that.
It's a fitness crowd. It's a fitness
cute.
crowd.
So I would basically say, so it's all the off-site things. It's the high-quality sites relevant in your industry
Okay.
that offer complementary traffic from their site to your site.
Okay.
That's the off-site side.
Got it. Okay.
Make sense?
100%. Okay, cool. So to improve my rankings, I need to start with a blog. Myth, truth.
A loaded question a little bit.
'Kay.
So if your site has a blog today,
Okay.
and you are consistently updating it with high-quality content, then definitely that's a great strategy. It gives the search engines like Google a reason to come back to your site and recrawl and index those pages to drive traffic into your blog. If you either don't really like writing or you don't have a blog installed today, actually my advice would make that a myth. Is I would recommend to focus first on the quality links pointing from other sites to you.
So how do you get links from other sites pointing to you?
So in that blogging world, a great example of that might be is, let's say you are a Pilates studio.
Okay.
I'll use a client example and maybe in your world a little bit. There's probably a complementary product that their customers need.
Massage, chiropractic, spa, or product?
It's like
or
a product example.
A product? Okay, so it could be the
Like a mat or something.
mats, water bottles.
Right,
Yeah,
let's
that's
use
more
water.
like
let's-
yoga, yeah.
Fine, let's use water bottles.
Okay.
Make it super simple. So there probably are water bottle websites out there that are getting some good traffic.
Okay.
So what I would do is if I owned a Pilates studio and I don't have resources available to keep my blog frequently updated with high quality content, my advice would be is you go to that water bottle company and you say, look, here's the deal. We have a lot of clients, customers that come to us that would be very interested in your products. I'd love to do a collaborative process here. We'll pick a topic that we together agree to, and I'll have one of our team members write a blog post from our perspective that you would put on your site. All that we ask is you have a link from there, in our blog, when you introduce us, that points from you back to us.
Okay.
That link, assuming that site is considered quality in Google's eyes, that link actually will give you more value than you starting up a blog from scratch. It just takes a long time to get your blog.
So you leverage
to perform.
someone else's work.
Exactly.
Okay. And guest blogging is awesome. We guest blog on a lot of different websites, from Digital Marketer to Lead Pages, and it is actually very, very helpful. And it's kind of tricky. Sometimes it can be a process. The bigger the company, the more difficult it is to be able to write for them. But if it's a little bit of a smaller company, you could always start there and keep swinging for the big ones too. But the more you write on other pages and in general, the easier it is to show examples of your work, which gets people to want you to write for them. And usually want to come up with some example titles.
Definitely.
As well, to give them an idea, okay, cool, that he wants to write on this, 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 and this is why.
Yeah, I guess one strategy that we use for our clients that I would recommend you all consider, it's been really effective for us, pick the keyword that you want to get found for. Search on that, find a site that has that ranking
that pulls
already
up
today.
already.
Go to their blog. If you go to their blog and you see infrequent scheduling of posts, that very likely means that company is really struggling
And needs
and
somebody to
needs
write.
content.
Okay.
So that's basically what we do, is we try to avoid swimming upstream like salmon, and we say shooting fish out of a barrel. Right. We strategically pick the companies that we know would find value in our content. And we say to them, look, hey, we have noticed you haven't posted a blog in 60 days. Let's make this easier for you. We will send to you next week this blog around this topic. It's getting this much search volume. We recommend that we write this for you, and all we ask is a link back to our site.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So people get emails all the time. Usually they start with "Dear Sir / Madam," right?
You're going with this one.
Well, you know where I'm going. It's usually somebody from India or the Philippines or some out of the country.
English.
Broken English, and they're saying they want to do SEO for you for like $100 or $99 or whatever. So, what are your thoughts on that? Is there any value that can come from that relationship? Is there anything you should or could hire them for?
I guess so. That saying about you get what you pay for often works in that space. A typical good SEO person will charge between $50 to $100 an hour.
Okay.
So just doing the simple math from a business owner perspective, if you pay someone $100, you're basically, best case scenario in theory, regardless of offshore or not, you're only getting a few hours a month of work.
All right.
That is not enough time to get you results.
Okay.
But what I always recommend, we get, which is frustrating, we have had some clients literally forward us those emails from companies. And this happened a few years ago, where is, hey, we got this email from this company. Should we consider hiring them to complement what you're doing? The biggest red flag for me is whenever I see the word guarantee, that's when I know immediately it's a lie. I guess Google can't even guarantee those results. So if they don't work for Google, there is no way they can guarantee it. Mm-hmm. And again,
even if you work for Google.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like there's just no way for you to get guaranteed results. If they have figured out a really sneaky way to do it and trying to game the system, you might see for a day or two or three, where they kind of snuck in some really strategic, black hat, kind of an illegal way of doing stuff. But Google will catch wind of that and it will immediately knock you down.
So avoid the emails coming in.
Yeah, I literally just delete them. I wouldn't even reply. I would just ignore them.
Okay.
I would say a good budget is typically at least $500 a month, but good SEO firms will charge thousands of dollars a month. But it'll include more than just like going to your site and optimizing it. It'll include things like producing content, getting you guest blog posts, and kind of doing a full circle holistic strategy.
Okay, cool. All links to our site are of equal value, especially those from Facebook and our email blasts.
So that's a myth. Not every link out there is the same. So for example, like one of our clients got a link from a celebrity on their Facebook page pointing back to the site. Their IT staff was analyzing that link and didn't see any uptick in traffic or rankings. And they were just shocked by that. Typically, most large publishing websites or social media sites add a thing called a no-follow tag because they don't want to pass that, what they call link juice.
Right.
They don't want to pass it from their network to you. So they're asking the search engines, don't follow this link.
Why? Does it hurt them?
Yeah, because again, there's a lot of controversy around this. If you've got a website page and on that page it's got, let's say, 5 external links on it, and let's say your page has got a quality score, let's say, of 50.
Okay.
In theory, Google will take that score and they dilute that across all the links that they're passing that link from that site to this site.
Okay.
And that's why the link farms have done so poorly. If you go to those link buying sites, you go to a page, you've probably seen this before in directories, there's thousands of links on one page. When Google sees that many links, they basically ignore that page. So that's where the challenge comes into play. What you want to look for is sites that don't add that no-follow tag. Just getting a link from an email or Facebook or Twitter doesn't mean it's going to boost up your domain authority, but it's not all about domain authority. So I always tell our clients, look.
How can you check someone's domain authority?
Actually, so there's a couple tools that we've used. One of my favorite ones is Moz.
Okay.
So Moz actually has
M-O-Z?
M-O-Z.
Okay.
If you go to Moz.com, they actually have a free tool called the Moz Bar.
Mm-hmm.
You actually can download it, and as you're visiting various websites, it'll give you all of the KPIs, the key performance indicators or metrics for that site to tell you how good of a site that is. And so when you
just so you guys know, Moz, the founder of Moz, Rand Fishkin, we're actually having him on the show in like two months. We're going out to Seattle.
That would be huge.
So we're going to have him on the show.
He's amazing.
He's like the OG.
Oh my God, he's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So we're going to be able to see a lot more of that. But go ahead.
That's great. So one of my favorite companies is Moz when it comes to SEO tools. Anyways, though, so you want to look for a high enough domain authority. If it's too low, like typically like Moz, you'll have a score of 0 to 100. 100 would be a Google and Amazon. Mm-hmm. You're not going to ever get 100. If you can get in that 30 to 50 score range, it's great. But if you go to a site and you see a domain authority of 3, the site is considered not relevant or garbage in Google's eyes. So I would just ignore those kind of things. Don't even waste your time trying to get a link from those low quality sites. You want to get the ones that have high domain authority and have a follow tag that allows the engines to crawl from them to you. But again, like I mentioned before, every link is valuable.
Okay. Okay, cool. So adding keywords 5 or more times on each page will help with SEO.
That's a myth.
Okay.
Again, that was an old school model, and I was actually one that had offense or took offense to that one, where again, 5-7 years ago, that was a very common part of the algorithm. You figure out for that page what the keyword focus needs to be, and just every 4 lines you stick it on there. Now you can imagine if you're like a real estate company, 4-bedroom home in Scottsdale, Arizona, putting those phrases 10 times on a website,
exhausting.
It sounds horrible. I have a lot of SEO experience, but I always recommend to our clients focus on the user first. If you would read this and you think it sounds silly, don't do it. It's common sense. But Google actually is looking at those kind of things as far as keyword density goes. You do want to have the keyword mentioned appropriately within the copy. Just don't start stuffing it. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, and that's actually what it's called, keyword stuffing.
Exactly.
Right, okay. Images and videos are not important for SEO since the search engine crawlers can't see a picture or watch a video.
So that's also a myth. And actually, that's probably going to change, I bet you, in the near future. There already are companies out there that are scanning images to look for text in the images. So it's going to get really amazing with Google Images and those kind of searches. But in reality world today, there is some merit to that. If you have an image or a video on a page, that might make your page load slower because of that file.
It's heavy.
So yeah, so that might actually hurt you because of that page load. But I mentioned this before, Google's looking at numerous different factors on a page, and one of them actually is the user's experience. Okay. So if I come to a page and I bounce off or leave really fast, that is a signal to the search engines, maybe this site is not so good to give results for that keyword. Okay. But we have found, and you know this very well, if I go to a page that's got all this text on it, I just get lost. No one wants to read all this text anymore. Right. If you can break up your text with images and videos, it gives you a sticky reason to stay on that page. Right. And it adds more interest. If Google sees me come to a page and they see me on the page for a minute or 2, really engaging in that content and embracing it, that's a good positive signal. So yes, images and videos themselves.
So Google is actually checking how long some people stay on sites.
Yes.
And pages they visit and all that.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
So if you can get your site to be engaging where people are spending 3, 4, 5 minutes on the site, Google's going to believe that you have a site that people actually enjoy visiting, therefore let's put him higher up in the search results.
Absolutely. I mean, again, look at this, make it simple, simple kind of concept around that. Clients always ask me, why is Google Analytics free? I mean, it's probably one of my personal favorite tools out there as far as understanding how users are engaging with my site and client sites. Google is doing that for a reason. They're super smart. By giving this tool away for free, you're adding code to every page of your website. And that's how they actually can tell exactly what you're doing, where you're coming from, what pages you're looking at.
So sites that don't have Google Analytics on it may not be able to be
It's going to hurt them. It's going to basically possibly hurt that site. Again, I'm not trying to say by installing Google Analytics you're going to get better ranking results.
Right. It's a piece of 100 pieces.
Exactly. There's so many factors, and they all have different elements to them as far as like what determines how they give you ranking results. But again, I mean, Google Analytics is an amazing tool out there to help you understand how things are going with your sites. They're watching all of those things. For example, like Google AdWords, from a paid media perspective on driving traffic to your site, they have a thing called the quality score. That is very similar to Google's algorithm. They're looking at, how long they're on the page, are they filling out the conversion form, all those various different elements. If they don't see those positive engagements happening, they reduce your quality score, which actually then requires you have to pay more money for the exact same amount of traffic.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, but it's a good system though.
It's great.
Because it's great for the user and it's great for Google because if it's great for the user, they keep coming back. And that's ultimately what everybody wants.
Yep.
Otherwise, there's no point. Okay, NAP, name, address, phone number.
Yep.
How important is it? Well, I guess this is a question. It's important to make sure it matches on the website as the same way it does on everywhere else, like Yelp and Kudzu and Google Pages and all that stuff.
Yep. So the crawlers obviously have to crawl billions of pages. And so what happens is one of the elements of the algorithm is avoiding duplicate content. And so if you're being found for a certain keyword, Google tries to avoid that exact same site showing up for the exact same keyword on the same page right below it. Again, it's not a perfect science. I've seen that happen numerous times. But that concept applies really well to local search.
Okay.
So you're looking at everything from Google, Facebook, Foursquare, Yelp, and the other 50 plus directories out there. You really want to make sure on a per location basis you have the exact same information for your company name, your address, your phone number, your website address. If you have different elements in place, it's going to cause the engines more confusion, and now you're asking them to do more work. You really, I mean, from a marketing perspective, your goal should be is making it as easy as possible for all the various crawlers to index your site in whatever tool they're using, local or normal search.
So that one's true.
Yes, it is true.
Okay. I want to talk to you about content because you're really great with content.
Okay.
So everybody's got this buzz about writing blogs. We write blogs once a week, and like you said, as long as it's high quality content, then it's actually a great thing to do. So how can I leverage that content? Because one thing I hear is, why do I need a blog? I never go to a website and then go to the blog.
Right.
So what people don't realize, it actually works the other way around.
Yep.
You go to the blog and then you go to the website. So how can you get your blog that you just wrote, that you know is incredibly valuable to the right person, right? So let's say I'm wanting to get in front of moms that appreciate fitness that have young children. And so I write a blog like how to get your child to eat a healthier breakfast. Okay, now what do I do with that blog in order to get in the right hands?
I guess so my advice honestly would take a step back here for a second, because again, that's what most companies do. And I've been, again, at fault of that as well. You figure out a really cool idea for a topic and then you go and write it. I would take a second and think through what is the goal you're trying to accomplish here. Try to figure out like what is the keyword focus that you want to get found for. And then what I personally would do is I would go to Google and type that phrase in and see what else is being found for that right now, just to give you a sense of like, what is Google finding of value out there to kind of help steer you in the direction of your contents. But let's assume that you already wrote a post and it's just not performing really well. There are a bunch of tools out there that you can use to help figure out, gosh, for this kind of content, what keywords should this be performing well for? So for example, in that scenario, we actually personally have had blogs we've written that should have performed really well. And we look back a month, 2, 3 months later and we're like, gosh, this blog post has only gotten 500 visits so far. We thought it would get a lot more than that. One of the tools that we love for figuring this out is Google's Keyword Planner. So you actually can go on their tool and you actually can put in the exact URL of your blog post. Google then will actually crawl that post for you real time, and it'll come back to you with a list of keywords they believe this blog post is about.
Wow.
Then what you basically do is you can look at that list and figure out, wow, these are 5 keywords that we would love to get found for. We're not being found for today. You can then log back into the blog post, and then you can go and you could tweak the content, the copy, the images, the alt tags, all the various different on-site SEO things, and then basically kind of recycle the post.
Okay.
That's one thing that I definitely would do. The next thing I would do is I would look through your own blog, and if you have numerous blogs out there, try to find a blog out there that is getting traffic today that actually would be a great segue from that post into this other post that isn't getting traffic today. And you actually can internally link that old post to that new post that isn't getting good results.
Okay.
Because again, if that current blog post, an older one, is doing well and getting traffic, you can then basically tell Google, hey, this post is doing well, now drive traffic from this to the other post.
Okay.
So that's like kind of on-site work.
And to get it out there more, something tells me that you guys spend a good portion of your week thinking about what to post. Like, what do I post on Facebook? What do I post on Instagram? What do I post on Twitter? This is exactly what you can leverage that for. And you don't have to just, we already posted that blog once. Post it 2, 3 times. Who cares? You don't know when your people saw it, especially with places like Twitter.
Oh my gosh.
Twitter, you can post that blog 15 times over
Easily.
the course of a week, and it's not a problem. When it comes to Facebook, maybe a couple times, but boost it. Boost it to the right audience. And you can use targeting features to allow you to boost it to the right person. And if you're using retargeting, which we talked about that on the show before, but just to break it down, if you guys haven't seen the episodes where you reference it, if you guys have been to like Amazon before, you're about to buy this box of Tic Tacs, and then for some reason you didn't actually finish your checkout process. Maybe somebody called you on the other line, or maybe your baby started crying. Whatever the reason is, you stepped away. It doesn't even have to be that you just changed your mind on Tic Tacs. Well, now it seems like everywhere you go, that box of Tic Tacs seems to follow you on other sites that you're on Facebook, on Twitter. It's always just seems to be there. Well, that's retargeting. So that company had a retargeting pixel on that landing page, and if you didn't fully buy it, it's going to continue to follow you around. And so a great way to be, something that we do, is we use our content, our blogs, to build our retargeting list so that they know who we are, and we know, okay, well, if this person clicks on that blog, right, let's say we're wanting to sell lead generation to fitness studios. So we write a blog that says, 7 ways to boost your lead flow instantly. I know at your fitness studio, I know that anyone that clicks on that, for the most part, I can assume that person would be interested in what we do.
Definitely.
So now you have your retargeting list building and building. That's who you run your advertisement to, as opposed to just kind of shotgunning it out, which that's okay too, but not as good as this, right? So making sure you're getting your content out there and then using retargeting. Do you have other strategies that you like using retargeting for, or social media posting with your content for?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan also of retargeting. I think actually you explained it exactly the way I would have explained it, but I think just to elaborate a little bit, the one thing that we're finding significant value is developing really granular-based retargeting strategies. So let me give you a great example of that. Let's say you are going to an automotive website and you're browsing through and building your car. Let's say it's a Tesla, and you're customizing it and picking red and all the various different features you're looking for. And let's say then you leave and you don't buy the Tesla online. It would be, how much cooler would it be if you saw an ad that had the same color of the car you're looking for? So again, this gets a little creepy, but the data is there. So we always recommend to our clients, look, if you're going to make the effort of building out a retargeting strategy, make sure the ads, either a display ad or a text-based ad you're showing, is relevant to the last experience they had. But taking it a step further, what we do is leverage retargeting from a nurturing perspective. So back to a bad example of the Tesla. Let's use a different car, like a Honda Accord. That car needs more maintenance to it, like oil changes and whatnot. So again, being a little creepy here, what you could do is if the person checks out and buys that car online, then maybe every 3 months you know that that person needs to get an oil change. So what you can do is now is you can display an ad. It's like, hey, on Honda Accord owner, is your car due for an oil change? Go visit this page, download a coupon for 20% off, and come in for an oil change. Most dealerships make the most money on the services after you buy the car, because car sale margins usually are pretty small.
Right.
So if I was a dealership, that's what I would do. Very, very few of them are doing that I've seen. But I guess you could be really smart. Just think about it. It's not just about acquisition. It could be about conversion and retention.
Upselling,
Yep.
add-ons, getting referrals.
It's a huge benefit.
All that stuff. Awesome. So guys, this episode was 100% on SEO and content, which SEO in particular, we have spent zero time ever talking about on our show. And it's not because I don't believe in it, it's just we haven't found somebody as good as you yet.
Oh,
so it's true.
make me
It's
blush.
true. Well, there's not a lot of people out there that can do SEO.
Right.
Especially now that it's changed so much. A lot of people just haven't been able to keep up. So you're one of the guys that has. I'm really excited to have you on. Rand Fishkin's another guy that has.
That's gonna be huge.
Really excited to have him on. And for you guys, just know that this is a part of your game, just like all the other parts of your game that you have to get, your social media stuff, your leadership within your team, your sales. SEO is another thing that's really good to pay attention to and really find a way to improve that as you go along. Other than that, Jay, anything else you want to add?
No, this is great. Excited to be here.
Yeah, same here. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching, for listening, and we will see you next week.
Take care, guys.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you liked this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.